Off to a roaring start in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the award-winning, and I don't know who made that mistake, Car Talk Show in Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with King Conrad DeLong, Jeffrey Zekin, and over there in the corner where he belongs, David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today. Well, you may regret joining us today, or you can sit back and have whatever it is that you have nearby in the liquor cabinet. Today, I have brought, just so we don't get the day off to a bad start, some nice TX blended whiskey. And I'm thinking that we're going to crack this open here any minute. And for 2.5 hours, we're going to swig this down.
That's our sponsor for the show.
Well, not yet, but
okay.
There's something for you to do later on. Give them a call. So it's been a very interesting week, needless to say. Mr. Mars is out today, and we're trying to wing it as best we can here. We're going to do our very best to bring you a car talk show like one that you've never heard or seen.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of surprising. Mm-hmm. How about you? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm talking to our fans on social media.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Stephen Ruse, George Skelton, Joseph Pledger. There's quite a few people.
Some of my high school friends there to go, we knew that he was weird.
Wow.
Interesting that it's the automatic transmission equipped, not the manual. So I guess the manual transmission, because is it a Tremec?
Probably.
Yeah, Tremec. So I guess that's not domestically produced.
I don't know. And if you hear some rumbling going on in the background, the Suze, my dog, is over here in the corner trying to make a nest so she can bury down for the next 2.5 hours for the length of this show.
Don't we all wish
and we really need we really need, that's true. We really need to have the Suze cam.
We do need a Suze cam. Yeah, we'll work on that.
We'll just strap one on her back so if she's walking around, we can kind of see where she's going.
Pretty much all the time.
Do we put that on Zoom? Can we get that? Never mind.
Let's not muddy the issue. But at any rate, I thought it was pretty interesting. When calculated by automaker, the index showed GM remained the overall winner with total domestic content for U.S.-made vehicles of 70.6%.
There was a while back, and I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, where the Honda Accord was the #1 car.
Well, it's built here.
Yeah, well, Marysville, Ohio.
Yeah.
But, Honda has the highest domestic content. I always thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it's, you look at how many different manufacturers are building vehicles here now. BMW, Mercedes, Honda, Nissan, Toyota. I'm not sure why, because they're still selling very well. Honda's still, the Accord is still one of the top 5 cars in sales and has been for forever. So they haven't lost their consumer desire, but they've kind of lost their way in the media because you don't hear everybody talking about them the way that they used to.
I don't ever get a Honda anymore from the press fleet.
Oh, you don't get on the press fleet?
I don't get guess they have any Hondas in the press fleet. That's all I can think.
Well, you've had a run of domestics here lately. The one that was on Fantasy Island with the little fringe dingle balls hanging around the top of it and roofless.
You can't say dingle balls on this show.
You can't say dingle balls.
That.
You can't say it.
Forecaster expects that the Renegade may end up on a PSA Group platform sometime after the planned merger with Fiat Chrysler Automobiles.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. You got to remember, it's shared. Is it the Renegade shared with the Fiat 500X? Isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, and it's made over there.
You posted that Jeep video this past week.
I did.
Yeah, I watched it. It was
good.
good.
It wasn't that interesting?
Very interesting. Well done.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, electrification in a Wrangler is going to be pretty cool because with electrified powertrain, you can control the wheel speed, but really have the torque necessary if you're going to go serious rock climbing and off-roading.
The interesting part about that I read is that you'll only be able to go 25 miles on the electric charge.
So it's going to be short trails.
Apparently so.
Not happy trails.
To begin with.
So there's no charging stations in Moab.
Moving on. Compass 2021 model gets an 80th anniversary edition. A redesign could arrive in 2024. Wrangler plug-in hybrid option will arrive in U.S. showrooms by the end of this year with the brand's new 4xe tag. Are we keeping you up?
Yes.
A V8-powered Wrangler Rubicon 392 Near is expected in 2021. So Jeep has got lots of cars.
So what's the name in Jeep's history that would fit the 3-row?
That I can't.
Because they tend to always stay with a historical name.
Yeah.
Well, the Liberty was the midsize, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liberty was small, yeah.
Versatile
Just above
midsize
Renegade.
Gladiator gets a 3-liter diesel V6 with stop-start and 8-speed automatic due this year for the 2020 week. So for you people that are looking for a used car, well, maybe this might strike a nerve. And I think, what is it? The 2013 Ford Fusion is
Ford Fusion Titanium.
Okay.
Which is the top of the line of the vehicle.
Okay, so this car is 7 years old.
Yeah, roughly. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
And mileage on this particular vehicle was right at 100,000, give or take a few thousand.
So it's still got some life left in it.
Still has some life left in it.
But
And actually,
out of warranty.
Yes, out of warranty. Even with an extended, and I do recommend that anyone that gets a pre-owned, if it's certified pre-owned, a CPO, to get the extended warranty, because that does help you longevity.
Oh, yeah.
The cars start nickel and diming you, and you don't want that, especially if you're upside down in any kind of vehicle. This vehicle, actually, I like it. It's a good riding vehicle. It's a tight vehicle. There's the interior. It's got a nice pod, center console. You can see that everything's touch screen. This reminds me of the Cadillac I reviewed, with everything's in the center pod. Right. Mm-hmm. So
and leather was standard on the Titanium.
Leather standard. You got your reverse cameras and things of that nature.
I'll tell you, I'm hooked on the reverse camera.
Are you?
Oh, yeah, I love
So
them.
is everybody else.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing on all cars these days.
Well, it's standard. It has to be. It's a requirement.
Well, I know, but I mean, when people are surveyed, that's what they like the most.
I'm still old school. I turn around and look.
Of course you do.
Yeah, even though, sure.
Of course, I think you've got eyes in the back of your head.
There you go. Trunk space is great. It's just an all-around pretty neat vehicle. I like it. It's popular, and I think it's good.
Well, and the durability of the Fusion has been very good over time as well. Mm-hmm. There's not a, when you look.
As soon as Don Armstrong gets his act together.
There you go.
Because I currently don't have my act together. Clearly.
We'll help.
Everybody notices.
Yeah, we'll help.
Well, you've got your head buried down there in your phone, like a little girl. So
I'm trying to talk to our fans. They're telling us that they're watching you and you're stuttering.
There you go. I'm just pushing buttons.
And keeping your head down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show on this Saturday. So glad that you could join us today. Since I'm not on the air every day on a regular, like a radio show or something, it takes me a while to get on the bike and start pedaling when I've got a whole week off. Just saying.
Oh, so that's what's wrong.
So that's not the only thing that's wrong, but that's the excuse that I'm
we all
going
need to get on that bike together.
Yeah,
a
apparently
bicycle
so.
built for four.
And by the way, would that be funny? I know that this is National Racing News segment, but nobody asked, and so I'm just going to volunteer the information that last week's big $10,000 to win truck race was pretty interesting out of Houston Motorsports Park. 75-lap feature. Winner gets $10,000. And
that's a long feature.
So, but let me tell you, it went like that because those trucks are really fast. And so the declared winner.
Yes, can you see me?
The declared winner.
The declared winner was disqualified on a technical issue.
Uh-oh.
Second place was also disqualified on a technical issue. So the third place truck won. Now,
and which one did you interview in the winner's circle?
That would, of course, be the winner. Then But that all went out the window after post-race inspection.
So they got caught cheating.
Actually, it was a mistake.
That's what I'd say.
They didn't know because the issue was with the drive shaft. And apparently there is a rule with those trucks that they have to have a solid drive shaft. Okay? Well, they didn't have a solid drive shaft. And, it's like so many racers, whether it's drag racing, circle track racing, whatever, a lot of these drivers have other people do certain work for them. Like, for instance, the transmission guy also does the drive shaft and the rear end.
Right.
Well, nobody said, hey, this is the rule for this particular class. And they put in a hollow drive shaft and whoosh, out.
Well,
because they go by the rule.
They're trying to take some weight out.
Well, yes,
doing that.
But not really. Not really. It's just one of those rules that somebody said, oh, God, that rule was written 15 years ago. Was that still in place? Well, they go by the rule book at Houston Motorsports Park. And
read it before you race.
That's exactly right. So anyway, I also wanted to mention that coming up next Saturday night is the Gary Merrill Memorial Race at $7,000 for the Pro Mod winner.
Oh, cool.
Professional modified cars.
Bringing some money to asphalt track racing.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people there, and I think they really had a good time. I know that I certainly did.
I saw the video of the flyover. That was awesome.
Yeah, it is very cool. All right, so on the national side.
Well, this morning, the 24 Hours of Le Mans started, and it'll finish tomorrow morning. It's 24 hours.
God. What channel is that on? Do you know?
It's on Motor Trend, and it's going to be on all 24 hours on Motor Trend.
Oh, okay.
So, the Russian Grand Prix is next weekend in Sochi, where they had the don't look at you, look at the camera. Yeah, where they had the Olympics a few years ago in Sochi, Russia. Bristol is going to be tonight.
Sochi, Russia? I thought that was Japan. No?
No, this was Russia.
Okay.
And then in tonight is going to be Bristol. They're going to be racing under the lights at the Bull Ring of Bristol, which is always a lot of fun to watch these guys run these short tracks because they're always pushing each other around. Generally starts fights as well. Next weekend, they're going to be in Las Vegas at NASCAR, and then on the 10th is going to be back at Talladega. This weekend in COTA, our friend Alec Udell is racing in the GT Cup Challenge, and he's actually running a GT3 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. And he says it's faster than most everything else that he's raced before as he's come up through GT4 and then to GT3. So, Alec, good luck out there in COTA. The NHRA, I think the next one is are they going to race at Charlotte?
Gainesville, Florida.
Okay. So
the Gator Nationals that was postponed.
Yeah, so they've kind of plugged in and plugged out of different races over time, and their schedule's a bit of a mess, but I guess Gainesville's the next one. And then Indy cars will be December 10th at Indianapolis Speedway, and they're going to be racing on the road track again, which is going clockwise, backwards versus the Indy 500.
Wait a minute. Did you say December?
No, did I say? I meant October 2nd.
I was going to say because there'd probably be snow on the ground
no,
in Indianapolis.
I apologize. October 2nd.
Okay.
And with that, that's the National Racing Calendar.
All right. By the way, I failed to mention last week, and I wanted to mention this week, that our friend Craig Bierman at Speed and Sport Chrome Plating has put together a thing called Chrome and Coffee that I went to last Sunday morning. It's a Sunday morning cruise-in, and guess where it is?
Prince's Hamburger.
It's at Prince's. Did you know that there was a Prince's Hamburgers still open? I didn't know that. So Prince's Hamburgers is at the Sharpstown Golf Course off of Bel Air Boulevard. Who was to know? So
Craig knew.
Craig knew, yeah, because Craig kind of lives in that area. And it was a very well-attended cruise-in. A lot of old cars, a lot of old-fashioned stuff. But Craig also had a brand-new C8 Corvette there.
Of course.
Had a 66 Biscayne with a V8 in it, a two-door. And it was pristine. It was fun, cool, cruising kind of cars.
Oh,
He
yeah.
also had that $250,000 show car that nobody has seen yet. He just bought it this year. He didn't pay $250,000 for it, but that's what they'd say how much it cost to build.
And if you go to our Facebook page, Frank Talbert, the guy with that red 68 Camaro with the white stripes on it, he posted up about 40 pictures of the show down there at Prince's, so they can go on our Facebook page and check all that out.
It was a great show, and I think that if you want to go, there's going to be another one tomorrow, 9 to noon over there at the Sharpstown Golf Course. Okay.
Gina just checked in on our Facebook page, so she missed you talking about the race next weekend.
Well, there you go.
Got to check in earlier, Gina.
We'll be right back.
If Baby could talk, she'd say a lot. You'd know what she's thinking and what makes her happy. But unfortunately, Baby can't talk or remind you you're the one taking her to daycare today. And she won't speak up if you drive straight to work like any other day and never think to look in the backseat. Every year, dozens of kids die from heat stroke in cars. No one is perfect, so set a reminder. And always look before you lock. Where's Baby? Paid for by NHTSA.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching in real time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Hello, everybody, from Studio A in Texas, USA. It's the award-winning All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in Wheel Time. Just ahead, review of our new car of the week, the 2020 Cadillac CT4. This week in automotive history, stories making auto news headlines. We got that and more, along with some great guests this segment. The In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, and it is September 19th, 2020. Howdy, along with King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. That guy over there, that is the mysterious David Ainsley, our chief engineer guy. And so Mr. Mars is out today, and sitting over in his usual position off camera is Jeff Zekin, and thank you all for being here today. I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for whatever is going to take place.
Ahead of time?
Ahead of time, because you know me. David and I go way back in broadcasting. We worked together at KPRC Radio, and so
a long time ago.
And I
notice all the KPRC license plates behind me.
Yeah, that's right.
The ones they made in prison.
The ones they made in prison, Jeff says.
Yes, that's right. All right, so we have some interesting guests lined up to talk to, and joining us right now is Nicole Waken and Alice Chase. They are journalists, and they're also in this Rookie Rebel Rally team. Hello, ladies, and thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Don. Thanks for having us.
Well, yes, it's great to have you here. And so what is the rally team going to be doing? I understand it's an off-road, women-only off-road race. Am I right?
You are correct. It is all women, no guys allowed. It's off-road, and it's not a speed race. This is a navigation rally. So they take away our phones, they take away our laptops, they disable anything in the car. They're like, you can't do anything. Here's some maps and a compass. Go for it.
So it's a time to distance rally.
Yeah, right. And you have so many checkpoints you have to hit during the course of the day, and you have the whole day to hit them in a certain order. Get back by the end of the night so you can have dinner. And that's what we're doing.
Well, that's why you can't have men in it, because they never want to stop and ask directions.
Right. They never look at the map. We'd just be driving in circles in the desert. So, yeah, that's why there's no guys allowed.
How cool is that? So where are you at with this?
We're going to be in California. It starts somewhere Tahoe-ish area and ends in Glamis in the sand dunes down by San Diego.
Oh, wow.
Well, what a great scenery. Well, unless, of course, it's on fire. I'm sure that you've heard about all the fires out there.
I have, and I'm just ignoring that. That's not happening. Fires will stay away from whatever route they have planned. I'm crossing my fingers. They don't say, hey, guys, new maps. The ones we gave you were on fire, so we're going to send you a different way.
So when is this going to take place?
It's from October 8th to October 17th.
So you've got a few days to make this trek. Do they have overnight accommodations? Or are you sleeping in the car?
We are not sleeping in the car, although we're probably pretty comfy in the car that we have. But no, we have tents, so everybody camps every night. So you're outside, with whatever you decide to bring for creature comforts from home to fit in your tent.
What are you guys driving?
We are driving in an Infiniti QX80. So although we're roughing it when we're sleeping, when we're driving, we have this nice, comfy, fancy luxury SUV.
There's nothing roughing it about a QX80.
Well, you know, that's interesting that you should say that, because I had asked to get an Infiniti, and I was told that I don't qualify to get an Infiniti. They wanted to know what kind of story I was going to actually have to talk about the Infiniti, and I don't play that game, so I don't get an Infiniti.
Well, they're going to have the story of running it through the
good
rally.
for them. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about me. So you'll have to tell us about your Infiniti experience, since they won't let me drive one anymore. Boom, there's that.
Everything you're missing.
Okay, well that's good to know. So tell me about your partner.
Well, Alice is going to be my navigator, so my main job is driving. I'm going to be driving it and hopefully keeping us on course. And Alice is the one who's going to be navigating. Alice is another journalist. She's actually based in Texas. I'm in New Hampshire. So we're very far away planning this, and we'll come together in California to make it happen.
Well, you guys have known each other before all this?
We have. It's funny. We were trying to figure out just how long we have known each other. I think it's been at least 5 or 6 years. We met somewhere out there on the automotive circuit at one drive program or another, and have been friends for a long time, and have both gone to the rally as media, and both thought, well, let's try this as actual competitors and see what we can do.
So where do you guys... How do you guys know each other? Granted that you're both journalists, but how did you get to know Alice?
It was really just from being on the automotive circuit. You know, you travel a lot. You're going to drive programs, except, you know, these days, normally you travel a lot. So you're always at events driving, and you have drive partners at all these events. And more than once, Alice and I had just partnered up driving cars on the road. Nothing, no rally, no, you know, navigation challenges or anything, and had just become friends over the years. And that's really how we met, and how the whole idea of being partners in the rally started.
Now, do you write for a publication, radio, TV? Tell me.
I do. I write for quite a few publications. I'm freelance, so I write for the Boston Globe and Auto by Tel and Carfax. I do stuff for AAA and for Napa, so I'm all over the place.
How did you get your automotive background? How did you learn automotive?
Well, it was one of those things. I've always enjoyed cars. I've always liked cars. I didn't know really the job of an automotive journalist sort of existed until maybe about 10 years ago. I was doing other writing. I'm a huge nerd. I like Star Wars and Star Trek and comic books. And they invited someone from a website that I was writing for to cover the launch of the Dodge Dart. And no one wanted to go because no one was into cars. And I was like, well, I like cars. I'll go. So that kind of got me into it. And then it's just, you know, what I had known, and then just the process of talking to people and going out there and reading and learning and just, you know, absorbing everything you can to start knowing what you need to know to do the job.
So now you've become a car nerd.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I feel like that's fair.
Now, do you get a new car every week?
I do. I get a different car to drive pretty much every week. And it could be anything from, you know, fancy schmancy QX80 to a more, you know, base car. But yeah, different car every week.
Well, how did you manage to acquire the QX80 for the rally?
Well, it was when Alice had approached me about, you know, teaming up with her, and we had a couple different automakers that, I mean, we know a lot of them from the work that we do, and a couple who had heard that she was thinking about running the rally and said, well, before you do, come talk to us. And we talked to Infiniti, and Infiniti said, we'd really like you to do it in the QX80. And we weighed our options, and we thought, okay, yeah, QX80.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's hard work, isn't it? So what special techniques, I guess, what special care do you have to take considering we're still in all of this COVID mess while you're doing the rally?
Yeah, they've made some changes, and like we have to have a test. I think it's within, I'm going to mess up the days, but like within 5 days of when we arrive at the rally, we have to have a COVID test to make sure that we're negative. They've changed the layout of things at the campsite. Like normally there's like a big tent where we all have dinner. They're going to have things a little bit more spread out. They have more hand washing stations. We have to wear masks anytime we're in the camp. They've done a lot to try to make sure that we are as safe as possible. And I feel like they've done a lot. So I'm not super nervous about it, any more nervous than I am just, living my day-to-day life. I feel like the Rebel Rally has really taken the right precautions to try to make it as safe as possible for all of us.
So tell me about the Rebel Rally. Has this been going on a while?
Not too long. This is actually the 5th year, so 5 years in. And it's the only rally like this in the U.S. And I've attended twice as media, so I've seen a little bit of it. I know what I'm in for. But yeah, 5 years on now.
Now, is this all going to be off-road, or is it going to be off-road and on-road?
It is, I'm going to say, and they don't give you the maps until the day of, but like 99% off-road. I think maybe we'd be crossing a road at some point, but on-road driving is not the goal here. The goal is an off-road navigation rally.
In a luxury SUV.
In a luxury SUV.
And getting somehow from Tahoe to San Diego off-road. That'll be interesting.
So it will be interesting
because you're gonna probably dodge quite a bit into Nevada. I'm just thinking off the top of my head into Nevada to stay off road as much as you can. Because if you're on the California side of Lake Tahoe, you're up in the mountains all the time, and it'd be real hard to go off road through the mountains.
Right. Yeah, I know they have a plan. They have a route. They have, they know where we're going, but we don't see the maps until the rally starts. We don't know what the checkpoints are until the day of each day of the rally. So yeah, we'll know where we're going once we're actually going there.
So how much extra support equipment do you need in the vehicle as you're doing that much off-road? Because I would assume you're going to have a couple extra spare tires just in case, you damage a tire along the way.
Absolutely. They require, I think it's 2, because there's 2 classes. There's a 4x4 class and there's a crossover class. And I believe the crossovers have to have 2 spares. Everybody else has to have at least 1. I have 2 because they said, do you want 2? And I said, absolutely, give me 2. So we have to carry that. You have to carry some basic equipment, spill kits, some extra water, things to keep you safe, that sort of stuff. And then you can carry some spare bits and pieces if you want. And they do have mechanics at the base camp. So if there's something that goes wrong and you have the parts or whatever, and you want to try and have it fixed overnight, they can help you with a lot of that stuff.
So if you have a flat, are you good, or do you have to have one of the support group help you change the flat?
No, I have to change the flat. That'll be me and Alice. It'll be the 2 of us changing the flat.
So are you also bringing a kind of a hydraulic jack with you as opposed to the factory jack?
It's not the factory jack. It's not a hydraulic jack I haven't seen the actual build of the exact QX80 they're giving us, but they've told us he's put what he's quoted to me an off-road jack. I have no idea exactly what that will look like until I see the car. This coming Friday is the first time I actually get to see the one we're going to drive.
I have a quick question.
Yes, David. What is the question?
Is it a stock car or is it modified for off-road?
It does have some modifications. I mean, we took a stock QX80 off-road in the dunes about 2 weeks ago because the rally does some training classes that you can do, and we took it out there in the dunes. So we took a fully stock one out. For this one, they changed the tires. We have some off-road tires. They gave us, I think, a 3-inch lift, changed the bumpers out, put a bunch of skid plates on there so I don't destroy the bottom. I feel like those are the big things. I think we might have a winch on the front of it too.
Okay.
So they did do some modifications, but like we took it on the training, stock one out of the press fleet on the training course. We did that. So you can take a stock one out there.
Really? Okay. Well,
yes.
I want to continue with this conversation. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. We're talking to Nicole Waken, and she is one of the Rookie Rebel Rally team members. And I assume that your partner, Alice, who's from Texas, that she's still in bed. I mean, it is Saturday morning at 10:13, you know.
And I can't see her because she's in Texas. Do you have her here, or is she not here somehow?
I don't think that we have.
She's not here somehow.
Somehow she's not here.
She
whatever.
is not here. Okay, then I'm going to say, yeah, she's sleeping. It's Texas. You guys are an hour behind.
So are you flying into Tahoe, or are you going to fly into Sacramento to pick up the vehicle?
Actually, as weird as it sounds, we're flying into Los Angeles because where we're picking up the vehicle is closer to there. We're going to spend some time with the guys who've done the mods on the vehicle, and then we're driving it up to Tahoe.
That's a pretty good haul up to Tahoe.
It is a pretty good haul. We got a couple days to do it. It's not like we have to rush to do it. We've given ourselves enough time to do it.
Now, have you guys taken it upon yourself to get some off-road lessons, or are you experienced in this? I just find it interesting that here you are a journalist and you're going to go off-roading, and I can't imagine you not having any experience whatsoever in doing this.
No, I do have experience. Yeah, it is not the first time I have driven a car from the pavement into the dirt. I have off-road experience. I do some off-roading at home, but not the level of what we're doing at the rally. The big thing that's different for me are sand dunes. I live in New Hampshire. We don't have sand dunes in New Hampshire. So that is something that's really new for me. And in fact, we're doing some more training next weekend. We're going to be out doing some dune training that's the off-road part that's really a question mark for me. That's where I'm learning the most. But had some great instruction last weekend, a couple weeks ago. I'll have some great instruction next weekend, and I'll be ready for it.
What's good? I mean, does your SUV come equipped, or have they fitted on a winch? What if you get stuck?
They did put a winch on the front of it. If we get stuck, we have shovels. We have, max tracks that you can stick under the tires to help get some traction to get out. Wow. And I have no doubt, because it's the true, I think, pretty much of everybody. At some point you're digging, you're in sand dunes. There's the chance of getting bogged down at some point is there. And also people on the rally, the teams can help each other. It's not like if you see a team that's stuck that needs help, you're just going to necessarily just
you don't laugh. Yeah, you don't laugh at them as you drive by. So where can people follow your story on this as you...
Well, yeah, because we can't share anything on social because Alice and I will both be, out of connection. You'll be able to find stuff. Infinity for our team is going to be sharing a lot on their social media channels. And the Rebel Rally, if you follow them, they'll be doing daily updates about what's going on at the race. And you can even see the teams and sort of track them as they go through the desert each day, little numbers, and follow the team. So that's the best way to see what's happening.
Nicole, how many competitors are there going to be? Vehicles? How many vehicles on the rally?
There are 40 teams, so that'd be 80 people.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah,
and y'all are going to leave at the same time?
They have it sort of staggered. You have a time when you leave, so it's not just this crush of all of us at once. So they stagger you a little bit.
Well, I can't imagine. How much fun is this going to be?
It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Well, is somebody going to document this for you?
Yeah, well, the teams, nobody can do their own stuff, but the rally has photographers and videographers who will be doing things throughout, who'll be taking pictures of us at our best and at our worst and sharing it all out there. So, yeah, hopefully we'll have a lot of good stuff from those guys.
Now, is Infinity going to have somebody there as a representative from the brand documenting all this?
I don't think there's going to be an Infinity person the whole time. They're going a little back and forth on exactly how that's going to work. But I know they do have things scheduled to have photographers and videographers at certain points. I think they might be utilizing the rally's internal staff to do that.
So who is it that puts together the Rookie Rebel Rally team? How does that work? I mean, you have to get invited to it. So how do you fill out an application?
You don't have to get invited to do this. If you want to do it and you go online and you sign up and you do have the car and do all the things they need you to do to be ready, anybody can do this.
So in other words, so I could dress in drag and try to get on one of the teams.
If you think you can sneak in there, Don, I'd suggest really high heels and bright red, and maybe you'll be okay.
I got that.
She knows about your red pumps.
I was just going to say they're not high heels, but they are pumps. And I listen. It's really hard to find those size 14s. I can tell you that.
And it is California.
It is California.
So where will you be publishing your stories after they allow you to get it back on social media?
I have mine. Everything that I have coming up is sort of a question mark, so I can't quite say where yet. So, but then on my social channels, when I'm done, I'll be sharing sort of my experiences with it. It's just my name, Nicole Wakeland. Follow me on. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, and I'll be sharing stuff after the fact.
Spell your last name.
It's Wakelin.
Nicole Wakeland. We can find you on social media.
You sure can.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. It sounds like a ton of fun. I have to tell you that I am jealous, but but I really find it fascinating having two daughters, and I'm the flag waver for the girls' team all the time, and I wish you the best of luck. It's been a great interview, and we really enjoyed talking to you. And best of luck to your fellow Texan partner there, Alice Chase.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and you stay in touch with us and let us know how things are going.
Will do.
All right, thanks. All right, that's Nicole Wakeland, and she's with the Rookie Rebel Rally Team. All right, we're going to continue with the In Wheel Time Car Show after a quick break. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a car review, so we invite you to stay with us.
911, what's your emergency?
God, there's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still hasn't stopped. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the Gary Merrill Memorial Pro Modified Race with a purse-busting $7,000 to the winner. Saturday night, September 26th at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. Saturday night, September 26th. Gates at 5. Racing at 6. Houston Motorsports Park. The $7,000 Gary Merrill Pro Modified Race. Bring the kids.
You know, I sure hope that nobody can read lips.
Well, those 4 letters are easy to read, Don.
Well, so I just found out that we actually did have Alice.
Alice was in the waiting room.
She was in the waiting room, but we didn't go to her.
So we apologize, Alice.
Uh-huh.
Alice Chase.
And we kind of threw her under the bus, said she was still sleeping. Clearly not. So our apologies, Alice. Please forgive us. All right, time now for this hour's car review. Had a chance to drive the 2020 Cadillac CT4. It's a new sedan for Cadillac, and it kind of takes the place and runs between what used to be the CTS and the ATS. The ATS was the Camaro-based platform, the small one, right. And then the CTS, I think everybody knows. This is one sharp-looking car. Available trim levels: the luxury, the premium luxury, the sport, and the V Series. This one that we're going to review today is the V Series.
The hot rod.
It's the hot rod, but it's not the V8 hot rod. It is considered a compact sedan. I wouldn't call it that.
Yeah, that's big for a compact.
I would call it a midsize. Seats 5 passengers. It's all new for 2020. You'll see a lot of advertising on TV for it right now because it is the hot one from Cadillac, and they're really pushing it. Like I said, it does take the place of the ATS and kind of slots between what used to be the CTS, and you get it. You can see it. It's all new for 2020. It is a classic 4-door styling with a modern cutting-edge grille. Sculpted lower door sills on this. Sexy wheel offerings, and I really do like those wheels. I think they're cool. Bustle-style trunk. with a built-in spoiler. Do you know what a bustle is?
The bustle back. If you go all the way back to the Seville of 1979, there was a bustle, what they called a bustle back, the way it kind of extended out
kind of
squarishly.
Poked out, like the turn of the century women with they had those things that they...
The bustle. It was called the bustle.
Bustle, yeah. Exactly. Thank you. What I liked about it, it's bubble butt. Seriously, I do like that.
It's the Kardashian of Cadillacs.
Oh, my God. I wouldn't go that far with it. What could use improvement? They could ditch the chrome trim around the windows, I think.
Well, it's Cadillac, but I think at that level, especially in the V series, they should have gone black chrome on it.
Interior highlights. Infotainment screen sits high atop the center stack, kind of like an iPad. Awesome contrasting color combos are available from Cadillac, and especially in the V. Edgy dash design. You can see the seats look kind of comfy. They are. Cargo trunk room. Adequate for this size car, but it has a small trunk opening. What I like about it? Well, pretty much everything. What could use improvement? I didn't like the plastic behind the seat adjusters on the side. You know, you open the door and you see the seat adjusters down there. Got a plastic panel behind there. It just makes it look cheap. They could do this something better than that. 2.7 liter inline turbocharged 4-cylinder that turns out 325 horsepower.
At a 2.7 liters, that's pretty awesome.
380 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed automatic transmission, 20 miles per gallon in the city, 29 on the highway. I got for a combined of 23. I do a lot of highway driving, 26.9 miles per gallon over 391.6 miles. What I liked about it, the power. What could use improvement? I don't know.
It's a very, very good-looking car. Interior could kind of use maybe a little more pizzazz, but I thought it was an excellent-looking car.
Ride and handling, sporty. Don't expect it to be some cushy floater that goes down the road like an old Oldsmobile.
But that's not a V. Thank you very much for the Oldsmobile. But that's not the character of a V. Maybe the lesser versions of it might have a softer ride, but the character of a V should have a much more aggressive ride and handling package.
It really has that kind of German feel to it, and I think that's really what they were after. Base trim price on this is a $44,495. Price is tested $52,165. If you don't care about the V and you just want to get into the car because you like it and it's sexy and it's hot, $32,995.
That's
$32,995 for a Cadillac sedan.
And that's before wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, exactly. Competitors, Mercedes-Benz A-Class for $32,800. The Audi A3 for $33,320. They're comparing it to really the ATS, but
I was going to say
the Genesis like G70 is $35,450.
Well, G70 makes sense, size-wise.
You know, the way that things are going these days, all of the manufacturers are trying to find a niche that really hasn't been filled.
Because it's hard to do.
It is. So when it comes to comparisons, it's kind of hard to compare it directly one-on-one, you know?
Because everybody's living in their own little world at this point, trying to find their uniqueness.
It's difficult for the manufacturers. Plus, manufacturers are also in this transition period where everybody and their mother is chasing Tesla, and everybody is working on electric. And Cadillac is going to go, they've already announced this, all electric. It's going to be General Motors' all electric division. So, and that's coming quickly. They're supposedly going to have a brand new all electric Cadillac next year, I believe.
21?
I believe it's 21,
okay.
And they're going to debut the all-electric. It'll be the first one, and it's going to be a while before they fill the entire roster of Cadillacs, but at any rate, that's on the things to do. You know, I have written down here the national race calendar, and I think we've already done that.
Yes, we have.
So what else do you have over there?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about some of the national shows that are out there.
Well, that's what you get for thinking.
Well, that's actually, we show that at 11 o'clock. So we can do a little bit of some of the local racing going on if you want. Well, next weekend is Woody's second annual Waterfront Car Show.
Oh, that's right.
We want to make
we're planning on being there, and we'll see. We hope
how all that plays out.
Yeah, how that plays out, because there's a lot of things going on that. You know, I know that it's scheduled to go, but are we going to be there or not? We're going to try to be there. We promised we're going to be there. We're going to do our best to be there.
And that's going to be a Top Water Grill in San Leon, and you go all the way to Dickinson, get on, 518?
518.
And you go all the way till you hit the water. And then keep on going, and you'll get out on the jetty, and that is Top Water Grill.
It takes a while from 45 to get to San Leon.
Oh, it takes a solid half hour from 45 to get to San Leon.
Yeah.
So if you're on and it's going to be a great show. It was a great show last year, and Woody's so well connected in the automotive community here in town. I think there'll be some real cool cars turning out.
Last year was the first one. What a great show it was.
Oh, that 69 L88, real L88 Corvette, that was an awesome car.
And by the way, I found out through the grapevine, I haven't talked to him, but Greg Enders sold that truck.
The one that won the show.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he sold the truck. He's working on something else now. Must be nice.
And then, tomorrow is going to be Sharpstown Golf Course at Prince's Hamburger. Speed Sport and Chrome Plating sponsoring the show.
Yeah, it's called Chrome and Coffee.
Chrome and Coffee. Going to be a lot of fun. You going?
I am. I'm planning on being there. And as a matter of fact, talking to my buddy at Channel 13, Chaz Miller, who does a lot of features, and they're going to do a feature on Prince's and the car show that's connected to it.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be, I don't know, a little more than a week from now, before that airs on television. But it's something that...
And then Sunday night at Freddy's in 1960 in Eldridge, Wednesday night at Freddy's in Katy, Friday night at Freddy's at Kirkendall in 2920.
All right, very good. Hey, I'd like to remind you that the In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues after this.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@nwheeltime.com.
Howdy, this is the award-winning Car Talk Show, In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with King Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong here. Mike is out today, filling in his seat, our fabulous engineer, Mr. David Ainsley. And over there,
more Jeff.
It's more Jeff. We need more Jeff. Jeff Zekin is handling all of our video switching today, so thank you all for being here and your support. Thank you for being you. And don't go changing to try to please me.
I wouldn't.
There's a song in that, you know.
I'm sure there is. Probably an old song.
It? No, it's not. Well, it is old, but it's not that old. That'd be
Twiggy.
Billy Joel.
Oh, okay.
What do you listen to radio? Do you listen to music while you're out on the road?
No, mostly talk radio. I listen to.
What is your favorite kind of music?
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
60s, 70s, not much of the 80s, but 60s and 70s.
Really? I'm kind of an 80s kind of guy.
Well, you're closer to it than me. Whoa.
He gone.
Goodbye, Don. The new host
Tomlin's
of the show.
laughing because he knows it's true.
Oh, my God. So joining us right now from Apex Motor Works, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Richard Tomlin. Richard, good morning, and thanks for joining us, and thanks for putting up with our clowning around here on the show, but you know how we are.
Can't hear him.
No,
can't hear you.
Yeah, I think that you have to unmute yourself over there on that end as he goes. Oh my goodness, yes. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be great.
There he is. Now I see him.
Okay.
Now try.
I'm still not hearing you. So at any rate, we're going to talk to Richard. Hopefully,
there you go.
Can you hear us now, Richard? Well, I can hear you, but it's
Kinda
really
muddy,
muffled.
yeah.
Yeah, you're really muddy. I don't know why, but at any rate, we're going to talk to him about this thing called the Seattle to Houston Charity Run, and from what I understand, this charity run is kind of unique in the fact that. You've got a limit. You buy a one-way ticket to Seattle and go find a car for under $2,000 or so, and then get it back here
Somehow.
Somehow, some way by October the 25th at 5 p.m. And I don't know how we really need to get him on there. Yeah, it's kind of like a roadkill thing where the guys go to the junkyard and they get a car out of the junkyard, get it to run. And then they go somewhere in it, some rally
go do
or
something.
Yeah, they go do something in it.
Well, I was looking at Facebook Marketplace in the Seattle area to see what kind of cars are available. There's actually some pretty nice cars available under $2,000. The question is, will they drive all the way to Houston, Texas?
In Seattle. Well, it's not Portland, but it's close.
And, you'd be out on the highways most of the time. And I was talking to Richard about it, and he says, if your car breaks down, sell it, get another one on the way. Your objective is to get to Houston with a car, and then to donate that car you get to Houston in to a charitable organization.
I think that's a great deal. And, I can only imagine going to a junkyard. And I have to tell you, I've got a couple of favorite shows. Obviously, one of them, Roadkill, which I've just described to you. The other one is the guy up in British Columbia.
Bad Chad?
No, not Bad Chad. But he runs a thing called Rust Valley Restores.
Oh, I watched that as well.
The white guy with the dreadlocks. And he owns a junkyard. And he owns a junkyard. What is it? What's the problem?
We're trying to get Richard.
Richard dropped out.
Oh, Richard dropped out. Yeah. Okay. So he owns a junkyard in British Columbia. So you can imagine the weather and the atmosphere there. It's a small town in British Columbia. And the junkyard is full of what he considers classics. Most of them are
rusty gold,
very rusty gold, and there are all sorts of kinds of cars out there, some with engines, some almost rusted beyond repair, but he's got this huge junk, and he'll go out there and pick a project car. And, of course, the project car from the outside looks really good, and then they get it up on the rack, and then they start digging into it, and there's not much to dig because there's huge rust holes and all sorts of problems with it. It's an hysterical show for me, anyway, to watch. Some people like it, some people don't. Unfortunately, there's just not enough episodes. There's 2.25 seasons of shows. So it's been an interesting, and I'll tell you what, man, to see him go through all of this stuff for the little money that they eke out of it, because he spends all of his money in the restoration of the cars,
or rebuilding all the metal that
he's upside down in it. And
that would be the same environment in Seattle, because British Columbia is just north of Seattle across the Canadian border.
Yeah.
So with that,
Richard, do we have you now? We're everybody's shaking their head saying, "Richard,
I'm back.
Richard is
here."
there
we go. We got you.
Okay, so
Sorry. Had to get off the Bluetooth. Sorry.
The Bluetooth. That's what the
it wasn't
problem.
working so well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Well, it's good to see you, and I hope things are going down there well at Apex Auto Works. So, tell us about the rally. So, I guess it's more of a charity run than it is a rally. It's not a speed event, but you've got a timeline. So to get a one-way ticket to Seattle, and then what?
Yeah, one-way ticket to Seattle. We meet at a place called The Shop in Seattle. They're an importer of a bunch of classic cars, bikes. We'll meet there, and then we're going to set a budget. And a budget anywhere from $750 to $1,500. And you go buy a car. Go buy a car, come back. We look at it, judge it, go, yeah, you spent this money, or that looks fair. Sit around, socialize that evening if you've got time, or you go do some maintenance on your car. We're sure some people will be doing oil changes and ball joints and wheel bearings of the sort, because we found some pretty amazing cars in Seattle. It's really interesting what you can find when you dig a little bit. But in the end, we leave there Friday morning at between 7 and 9 a.m. We'll start letting cars go at 7. You've basically got 24 hours to get from Seattle to Golden, Colorado. So we're going to be working with Haggerty Insurance. We're meeting at their corporate offices that morning. So that'll be your first known waypoint. So you basically got 24 hours to cover 1,300 miles.
Yowzers.
So that'll be 19 hours of driving to get there. Some of those will be mountain roads. Some of those will be at night, of course, which is part of the fun and the challenge. And you're going to be in a $1,000 cash car. Then next morning we get up, we do Golden, Colorado. We leave there, drive to Houston, which will be another 1,000 miles, basically 15 hours of driving. And we'll finish up here at Apex Auto Works. We got a couple charity organizations that are going to be on site. The goal is that we donate our cars to charity. You can change somebody's life by giving them a car, even though it may be somewhat of a beater. If it gets you to and from work, which is where these vehicles started originally, then we've done our part at helping someone else get a leg up in life.
Well,
and that's the goal.
And the other thing is, if it made it from Seattle to Golden to Houston, it'll probably get them to and from work.
Yep, and that's part of where we're going with this. And in 51 hours of basically the event is a 51-hour window. You'll cover that 2,300 miles. You'll buy a car. You'll create some amazing friends along the way, I'm sure. We've got 15 teams entered right now. Looks like 2 of them are actually joining Haggerty, 1 from local. Angelica, as all of you guys know, and Nolan from Dallas have joined us. So it's going to be an amazing time, a chance to meet some new people, and do something you'll be able to talk about at the bar the rest of your life.
So if we decide to join you on this venture, and we fly up there, I mean, do you have some sort of direction for us to go and find a $1,500 car?
Most of them we've found have been on Facebook Marketplace. It's kind of replaced the Craigslist. Even though some people are shopping Craigslist, I prefer Facebook Marketplace. And I've had people that have found cars in as little as 5 minutes. They're like trying to buy it, and it's already gone. So there's some amazing cars for under $2,000.
There was a red Mustang convertible for $1,750 on Facebook Marketplace probably about 3 days ago, and I'm sure that's gone by now.
I think my favorite one, was the 2003 Audi. Was $350, needed a timing belt. Well, the risk there is a timing belt probably been a valve, but it's $350. And I'm like, yeah, if I got a little time, we could fix that. And then we found a Toyota Sienna van, 230,000 miles on it. It was $900.
A terrorist van.
230,000 is still running and driving. $900. Throw the seats out and let's go.
I was just going to say that sounds like a terrorist van to me.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't look at the Mazda Miata, the kind of rusted out Mazda Miata with the roll cage in it. The single
loop
we found
roll some Miatas. We looked at some of those. We are going to have a service truck that will be running sweep, as we call it. So my truck will be up there. It'll be running last with all the tools, some tow ropes, some of the basic equipment we could use to help people get their car back up and running, because not everybody is as mechanically inclined as some of us. But we'll have 2 of our mechanics riding in the truck to make sure we can get people back on the road if they're having issues. We don't want to leave anybody in a bind, and get everybody on board with AAA before you get up there, right?
Well, you know, it sounds like one of those deals where I think that a representative from every charity in town would want to have a spokesperson on this road trip with you. How much fun would that be? Are there any motels on the way that you're going to? Have you already got set up for the guests?
Well, the initial night of hotel is included, which will be there in Seattle, and we'll finalize a lot this week because we just got the shop on board, so we're going to be close to that. But due to where people may stop or not stop, we don't want to create landmark hotels. We will have some here in Houston or Alvin, because we know people are going to want to crash pretty good after doing 54 hours of hoofing it to get here.
Well, I just can't. So how, if I wanted to join you guys, I'll tell you what. I'll let you ponder this. If I wanted to join you guys, you're going to have to tell me how I can go about doing that. And I want to talk to you about that. We need to take a break. Can you stay with us for just a second?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's good. I don't have my act together here, but I'm trying to get there. So if you'll give me just a second. This just sounds like way too much fun, and I sure would like to be in on this deal, and I know that you're going to tell us how, so stay with us.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Show. Talking with Richard Tomlin down at Apex Auto Works on this Seattle to Houston charity run coming up October 22nd to the 25th. It sounds like tons of fun. So if I want to get more information on this or sign up or do it or whatever, how do I go about doing that?
That is all through our Facebook events page. So basically you just go to Facebook, Apex Auto Works, and it'll show us being in Alvin, Texas. And then you go to the events tab, click on there, send us a message that you want in. And at that point, we'll start the paperwork process. There's really not a lot to do there. Get a deposit down for your spot. We did limit it at 20 spots, but we're about to fill those. So we're looking at maybe going to 25 cars for this first one. Get it in the books, figure out all of our systems, and then make next year looking at 50 cars.
Yeah, Don's already asked me to find him a used ambulance, and he's going to go as Dom DeLuise from Cannonball
Good
Run.
with that.
A used ambulance. Can you imagine?
I'll give you this one. This is probably the funniest one I think we've had yet. Is we have one team, and you've always got those unique friends, right?
Always.
And he has decided that it would be best to get a limousine, and then you put 3 teams in the limousine. So you got 6 people driving a limo. Everybody's got room to stretch out and have a good time. So if we get a limousine that's got 3 teams in it, that's possibly the easy winner as long as it's got no mechanical issues. But we also joked about having a limousine through the mountain roads. That could be all kinds of fun, too.
Well, you know, why? Now that you mention it, I'm thinking maybe kind of a hearse kind of deal. So you got a place to lay down in the back.
Stretch out. Now we are adding some what we call waypoints along the way. We're working with an app called Roadster app, automotive app, and it will allow us to track everybody. We're going to have waypoints that they can go check into. And one of the obvious ones that everybody pretty much already knows about is if you make it to the top of Pikes Peak with your car and get a picture of your car in front of the sign with you and your team, you get additional bonus points.
Who came up with this idea?
This was me and about 4 of my friends just sitting around talking about how people often say you can't get a good car for $1,000 or $2,000. Like, no, I've bought X, Y, and Z. And we said, we can help other people out by doing the same thing. And it was just one of those shop nights where people are sitting around and let's go from here to there.
Was there any adult beverages included in that shop night?
Is my name Richard?
Well, what a great idea, though. And then what a wonderful finish to find somebody who needs a car to improve their life. And to donate that car to them to improve their life. Could be very life-changing for those folks.
Well, I'm thinking also in future races, I mean, we could start one in, Miami to Houston, or we could do Niagara Falls to Houston, or how about Lake Superior to Houston? I mean, we could do far away. We could go to British Columbia.
Why did you choose Seattle?
Honestly, it was part of the country that I have not been through. I've not been to that side of the mountains.
So once again, it's all about you, Richard.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the map of states you visited, so I'm assuming this is going to come through a few of those states you hadn't visited yet.
Yep, it'll get 3 of them for me this time. So it's a goal, and to be able to say you've driven through every one of those states is one thing. A lot of people, they fly and land and say they've been there. I want to go drive and experience some of the great vastness of this country that we live in, and see some amazing scenery in just a beater of a car, and just go have a good time with friends.
And Seattle and Oregon have got some stunningly beautiful roads.
Yeah,
some great.
So it's going to be a good time, and man, if I can get you guys out there, would love to see you out there. It is going to be an absolute hoot. Any of your listeners that want to jump on, guys, hit me up on Facebook, Apex Auto Works, and go to the events page, and we'll keep in touch with what we got going on, and we'll make some live videos and live posts along the way too, and we'll see you then.
And you know that it's close enough to Halloween that we could all wear our Halloween costumes on this venture.
Well, we're all wearing masks anyway, right? So,
Well, that's right, especially me. Richard, it's great to talk to you. Good luck on this. Stay in touch with us and let us know how things are going. And if you need anything, just give us a holler.
Greatly appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works, the big Seattle to Houston charity run, October 22nd through the 25th.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be
I would so do that. But my automotive repair skills these days have gone right down the toilet.
I think that's why he said he's going to have that sweeper truck there, so there's going to be somebody to
I
help.
know, but it's kind of embarrassing. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with it, man. It just quit running.
It's got a flat tire.
Yeah, it's got a flat tire. It's $1,000. It is $1,000. Hey, you got something ugly or nice to say about us? Perhaps you're still ticked off about those cheap floor mats that you bought at the Five and Dime. Well, we want to hear about it. Share it. All you have to do is shoot the gripe department an email. The address is info@nwheeltime.com. Splash and go, and we're back with Conrad's This Week in Auto History and stories making automotive news headlines right after this.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the Gary Merrill Memorial Pro Modified Race with a purse-busting $7,000 to the winner. Saturday night, September 26th at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. Saturday night, September 26th. Gates at 5. Racing at 6. Houston Motorsports Park. The $7,000 Gary Merrill Pro Modified Race. Bring the kids. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild to wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
You know, time flies when you're having a good time, doesn't it?
Yes, it
We've
does.
already blown through an hour and a half, almost.
And this is my music. I love this song.
I know you do. Here, let me turn it up.
Kind of reminds me of some Munsters music or something.
It does, yes, it does. And we're getting closer and closer to Halloween, so maybe I can break out the entire album that has this music on it, just for you.
Works for me.
Okay.
So this week in automotive history.
Yes, sir.
In 1899, the first recorded automotive fatality happened.
I remember that.
I imagine you did. And that's when, George Bliss stepped out of a building in New York City and got hit by a passing car. They said the car was only doing about 11 miles an hour, but I guess it kind of went squish.
Well, I guess he reached bliss after that, huh?
And then in 1908, William C. Durant founded General Motors Corporation, and he consolidated several motor car companies to do that, and those were Buick, Oldsmobile, and Cadillac were the first parts of General Motors Corporation, and then over time they added Chevrolet and GM Truck as well, because originally it was called GM Truck, not GMC Truck. In 1960, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Companies was founded.
Countries.
OPEC.
Yes.
So OPEC was founded in 1960, and the original 5 core members was Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela.
And I remember about 1979, they screwed us over really good.
Yes, and stopped production and created the oil price increase. And actually, it was earlier than 79 because it was back in 71, 72, 73. When the price of gasoline, they had to change all the pumps around the country because all the pumps went up to 99 cents. And then they had to go up past $1, so everybody had to repump.
Oh, I don't remember that. But yeah, you're right.
They had the old mechanical.
Right.
So And that was in 1960. In 1965, and this was actually one of my shows I liked, My Mother the Car.
Oh, my God.
Was
what a
released.
terrible show that was.
It was one of the shortest running television shows in history. There were only 30 episodes ever made. Jerry Van Dyke. And what kind of car was it? A 1928 Porter was his Mother the Car. Goofiest show ever. In 1977...
Because his mother's spirit lived in the car.
Yes, and talked to him.
Yes, and talked to him.
In 1977, General Motors introduced the first automotive diesel engine, the 5.7-liter Oldsmobile diesel.
What a disaster that was.
Hey, I made house payments working on Oldsmobile diesels. That was back when I was a technician at Eskridge Oldsmobile. And it was introduced into the Oldsmobile 88 and 98 models. And it was a major selling point for those two models because you can have a full-size car that was getting better than 40 miles to a gallon. And I easily saw some cars that got 40 miles to a gallon.
If you could keep it running.
Well, the other thing is I also saw one drive off the transport truck to the dealership as they were dropping it off at the dealership, and it had a knocking noise in it. And the knocking noise was the crankshaft was broken in 3 separate places, and the engine still ran, and the guy drove it off, and I ended up having to put a motor in it. Long story short. That
wasn't short.
Well, in 1982, Princess Grace of Monaco passed away in an automobile wreck. She had a stroke while she was driving the car in some of the back roads around Monaco.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and they said she went off a 45-foot embankment after the stroke in the vehicle. In 1988, Ford and Nissan announced plans to design and build a minivan together in hope of cashing in on the expanding minivan market. Do you remember what those two minivans were?
Caravan?
Well, Caravan was the market they were chasing. The Nissan Quest and the Mercury Villager.
The Villager, yes. I do remember the Villager.
And then in 2004, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. This week was when Oprah Winfrey gave away, what did she give away? 276 Pontiac Grand Ams, or excuse me, Pontiac G6s, as Pontiac was releasing the G6. This week in automotive history.
Oh, my God. Well, and then Ellen DeGeneres, then she kind of...
She gives away lots of stuff.
Glommed onto that. Yeah, she's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but she's I kind of, when I can, kind of watch a little bit of the show. They're very, very generous person, and she gets lots of support from other companies.
Well, apparently her staff is out of control, and she's mean from everything that I've read.
I think a lot of those superstars have a tendency to be mean. Look, we have you. But we love you, Don, nonetheless.
And the bad part about this is that they all sit around and applaud when you say that because I'm mean. Really?
No, you're not mean.
And not a superstar.
No. Never have claimed to be that.
You're just lost in the fog, but you're making very good time.
Yeah. Well, I spent most of the 1970s in a fog, so...
Right.
There's that.
It's like your parents asked you, what'd you do with all your allowance money? And you just said it went up in smoke.
You said that. I didn't say that. All right. As we try to move on and advance the program with the clock, a couple of headlines making stories this week. Ford Motor Company executives say the upcoming battery electric F-150 will be cheaper to operate and more powerful than the current gasoline-powered pickup, addressing two common concerns about electric vehicle ownership 2 years ahead of its debut. While the company would not provide specific figures, Kumar Galhotra, Ford's president of the Americas and International Markets Group, said the lifetime cost of operations, which excludes the purchase price of the electric F-150, will be roughly half that of the current generation vehicle. Now, that excludes the purchase price, but that is going to be the cost of operation will be less than half of the current gasoline-powered motor.
Yeah, but how much is the cost of purchase going to be?
Well, I mean, how much do you want to spend? You want to spend $100,000? Sure, we'll take your money.
Yeah, well, it's Tesla.
Yeah. But at any rate. Volkswagen has confirmed that its new compact crossover will be called the Taos. in the U.S. and says it will reveal the vehicle October the 13th. A spokesman for the brand said the subcompact crossover, which will slot below the Tiguan in price, will carry the Taos name in markets across the Western Hemisphere.
Below the Tiggy.
Yeah.
Tiggy's a pretty small little
It's not as
SUV.
small as everybody thinks it is. I mean, it's small, but it's not that small. Cadillac on Wednesday told its 880 U.S. dealers that they will need to invest at least $200,000 each on electric vehicle chargers, tooling, and training to continue selling the brand's vehicles beyond 2022.
And that will include a special space inside of their service departments to service and maintain electric vehicles.
The brand plans to launch its first EV, the Lyriq crossover, in late 2022 and have a fully electric lineup by the end of the decade. Cadillac worked closely with its dealer council to develop the standards which are integrated into the brand's standard franchise agreement, to which all of its dealers must adhere. The current agreement expires November 1st. Dealers who don't think an investment of that size makes sense for their business could remain with Cadillac beyond November 1st, but
run out of cars.
But their future would be subject to discussions with brand officials. I like the way they put that.
But that's not unusual for a manufacturer to require their dealers to step up in equipment.
But think of that little Cadillac dealer in,
Podunk,
Shiner,
nowhere.
Texas, that probably carries GMC and a Buick as well. They're going to have to invest $200,000. They don't have that kind of money. Goodbye Cadillac brand for them.
I was gonna say, goodbye Cadillac.
Yeah. Automaker has made Cadillac its lead brand for electrification, and the requirements differ from those being imposed on U.S. dealers who sell Chevrolets, GMCs, and Buicks.
Well, Nissan dealers had to make that kind of investment a number of years ago when the Leaf was released.
Yeah.
Those power stations out front of the dealership that you have access to 24/7 for their customers are not cheap. So
we need to take a break. In-Wheel Time Show is going to continue right after this.
A crying baby is impossible to ignore, but a quiet baby can be easy to forget. Every year, dozens of children lose their lives because otherwise attentive adults forgot they were in the back seat. It only takes a moment for a car to heat up to dangerous levels, even on cooler days. So get in the habit of always looking in the back seat and use reminders to ensure baby is always with you. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by NHTSA.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Show. Today, inside our new car showroom, the Buick Encore. We're going to give you an in-depth review of that. We'll also get this week's automotive news and Conrad's Car Clinic. And a couple of professional drag racing's big shots are going to be with us as well. Just ahead on today's In-Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, September 19th, 2020. Howdy, along with King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Mike Mars is out today. Sitting in his place is David Ainsley, our engineer. And Jeff Zekin is over off the side over there working all of the video stuff. And we appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you.
Yeah. You're going to do it.
Begged you to come. Thank you so much.
Like you're going to do it alone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's not going to happen at all.
Wait till you see the bill.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Angel Sempe, can you hear us?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you too, and we are so excited to have you with us today. Angel Sempe, ladies and gentlemen, 43 career wins, the most ever for a female driver in NHRA history. 74 career final rounds, gone 6.73 seconds in the quarter mile on a motorcycle. 199.76 miles per hour is her career best speed. And it is an honor to talk to you. We have never met. I was on the drag racing circuit for a while with the Valvoline Top Fuel team, and we never had a chance to run into each other. But listen, we're all gaga here to have you with us today, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So are you over there in Matthews, Louisiana?
Yes, I am, and I just got an alert on my watch that we're under a tropical storm warning yet again. This will be the fourth one in just a couple of weeks.
I know, and guess what? Right down the coast, and we're kind of there with you when this stupid hurricane season has been absolutely incredible. Well, congratulations on all that you have done in the past, and I know that here fairly recently you joined the Screaming Eagle Vance and Hines Harley Davidson team, and I know that's got to be a thrill for you, because these guys really have been kind of the pinnacle of your sport. And, what's it like?
It's a dream come true for me. When they invited me to join the team, with all sincerity, I really thought it was a joke. I didn't think they were seriously trying to put me on a third Harley Davidson after 20 years of being the rival. So I didn't know what to think at first. It took me quite a while to believe them. And then, when I actually took my first trip to the Vance and Hines shop in Indianapolis, I was full of jitters, full of butterflies, a nervous wreck. Just sitting on the motorcycle in the shop, it was overwhelming, and I was scared to death. But we took it out testing, and I realized how much of a beast it really is. All these years I've been thinking, because it's a Harley Davidson and it's a Vance and Hines team, it's got to be easy. It's got to be, you can't be beat on one of these motorcycles. But then I learned very quickly that it's the hardest motorcycle I've ever ridden in my whole career, and that Andrew and Eddie just make it look easy.
What makes it so hard? What makes it so hard to ride?
Everybody wants to know that, and I've tried to find the words to explain it. I think for me personally, it's coming off of a Suzuki onto a Buell and then a Harley. Each one was a little step. Suzuki to me was the easiest bike to ride. You're enclosed in what feels like a capsule. You're not feeling any wind. It's just a very easy bike to move around on the racetrack. They're a lot lighter than the one I drive right now. And then the Buell was a little bit harder because of the way the engine is and the torque. I felt that differently. The RPMs are totally different. The aerodynamics of the body are still really, really good, especially the new EBRs that some of the teams are racing. They're excellent with aerodynamics. But our Harley Davidsons are not quite so aerodynamic. And the first one I got on, when I talk about how hard it was the first Harley that I raced, not the one I'm on now, because the one I'm on now is a little bit better with the aerodynamics. But I got on this street rod, and it had this little teeny tiny windshield in front of me, and there was hardly anything blocking me from the wind. And for 20 years, I've been blocked from the wind very well. And now I was feeling all that wind on me, pushing on my shoulders, trying to rip my hands off the handlebars. And, then the torque that comes along with this Harley engine that Vance and Hines builds is unbelievable. I was used to either the power band being on the bottom of the gear or the top of the gear, but this Harley Davidson that I ride now, it has power from the bottom to the top. I mean, it's constantly trying to pull me off of the motorcycle. And just, the mental aspect of it, I was just so overwhelmed by being on this team and being on a Harley Davidson. It was mentally tough for me as well.
And having a huge fan base that follows Harley as well has got to be kind of pump you up when you get on it and you think of how many of those.
I was actually kind of scared if they were going to accept me, because I had been on the other types of motorcycles before, and how would they feel about me coming on to the Harley Davidson team. But I've been a Harley Davidson person all my life. My dad is a huge Harley Davidson fan. He had me on the back of his Harley at 3 years old. So it was just something we couldn't let anybody know, that we loved Harley Davidson when I wasn't racing for them. If I'm racing for Suzuki, I can't tell everybody how much I love Harley Davidson. So now it's kind of like a relief. We can finally let it out. My dad can wear off his Harley gear. And I just can't tell you enough how honored. I have goosebumps right now talking about it. How honored and blessed I feel to finally be on this team, because like you said, it's the pinnacle of our sport, and I don't know how much time I have left in this sport, so I feel like I'm going to finish on top. I'm just so happy to be here.
Angel, how did you get started in pro drag racing? How did that happen?
Well, I started racing motorcycles when I was 6 years old. Dirt bikes, motocross racing with my brother, my dad, my cousins. So I've been on motorcycles all my life. And then I was riding street bikes before I could even touch the ground on one. I would actually start with a milk crate under my feet, ride a certain course around the neighborhood we were in, and then end up with my feet on the milk crate so I could get off the motorcycle. At about 17, I was learning how to drag race it, and 18, we had a street bike that I took out to State Capitol Dragway in Baton Rouge here in Louisiana, and then introduced to the sport by the Cajun Nationals in Baton Rouge, and just fell in love with the pro stock motorcycle category. John Myers and Terry Vance and Byron Hines were all the people that I watched, Dave Schultz. I mean, they were just, when I was young, I didn't have, band posters on my wall. I had pro stock motorcycle drivers on my wall. So I knew it was what I wanted to do all my life. And then I attended Frank Hawley's drag racing school in Florida. And that's how I got my license, and was hired by George Bryce at that school, and started racing with Star Racing many, many years ago. And one thing led to another. We won our 4th race we ever went to. Was #1 qualifier, set the world record, and won the race. So it was just, my career was set on fire from the beginning.
Well, you're a small woman, 5'1", and so, you would typically think that you have an advantage because of your size and weight and all, but NHRA kind of has the rules leveled out. There's a weight limit and that sort of stuff that you have to go by. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people still, after all these years, don't know that being little it's an advantage in some ways, but for the most part, it's a disadvantage for me. I have the heaviest motorcycle at the racetrack. That's because I'm one of the smallest drivers. With the Harleys and the V-Twins, we all have to weigh 640 pounds with the bike and the driver all suited up. The Suzukis can weigh 595 or 600, depending on which engine combination they're using. So Suzuki riders have a lot less weight to maneuver down the track, and I have a lot more. And then, being as little as I am, we have to add the weight. So if you look at the motorcycle that Andrew Hines drives compared to the one that I drive, they look identical, but mine is about 70 pounds heavier than Andrew's. So he's, bigger, stronger guy. I'm a smaller female with this big, heavy motorcycle. So it's really tough to keep it straight. If it's getting out of the groove, if there's a crosswind, it's a lot harder for me to maneuver it than it is for him. But then we can put the weight where we want it, so we have a little bit of advantage with the way the bike leaves. We can get really good 60-foot times with that weight transfer. All his weight is up on top of the motorcycle. A lot of mine is down below. So there's a little bit of an advantage, but like I said, for the most part, it's a beast. Is it a heavy, heavy beast, and it's hard for me to get it straight down the racetrack.
Well, and you had talked about the wind because the fairing on the Harley is so much smaller. It's not just the wind pushing on you; it's the wind that's pushing the bike around because it's pushing on you. And I don't think people really understand how I'm going to say dangerous that is. You just mentioned crosswind as well.
We're like a rudder in the wind, is what we are. If sometimes, and it just happened to me in Indy, actually, it's when I had to race against Scotty, the grandstands were protected. We had a pretty strong crosswind, and the grandstands were protecting that wind. But as soon as we got past the grandstand, a gust of wind got me, and it was like I'm going perfectly straight, and instantly, but the bike takes a left-hand turn, and it just goes straight to the center line. And I had to roll off the throttle. So if anybody watched that race and they saw that I only did 170 miles per hour, that was because as soon as that wind gust got me, there was nothing I could do. It was so strong and so hard, and I wasn't big enough to pull the bike back, so I had to roll off the throttle, and ultimately lost the race because of it.
Angel, we got a lot more to talk about. We're going to take a quick break here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. With that in mind, it's time to review our safe driving checklist. First, you're in your car. Check. You're sober. Check. You're wearing your seatbelt. Check. Your phone is put away. Check. Great. Make sure you follow the speed limit. And remember, law enforcement is enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the Gary Merrill Memorial Pro Modified Race with a purse-busting $7,000 to the winner. Saturday night, September 26th at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. Saturday night, September 26th. Gates at 5. Racing at 6. Houston Motorsports Park. The $7,000 Gary Merrill Pro Modified Race. Bring the kids.
Welcome back to the In Wheel Time program. We really appreciate you joining us on this Saturday morning. Our guest right now is Angel Sampay, pro stock motorcycle driver in the NHRA drag racing circuit, and she has 42 wins to her name in her career so far, closing in on the second.
43. She's giving you the signal.
Sorry, 43. So we've got a couple of more to tie the all-time motorcycle in history winner, Dave Schultz, at 45. And I know that you're going to do it, and I know that you have the confidence to do it, don't you?
Well, actually, Andrew Hines is the all-time winningest person in pro stock motorcycle now, and I think he's up to like 58 or something like that.
Oh my gosh! Well, the NHRA needs to update your stuff on the web.
Andrew passed up Dave a long time ago, and he's made that goal pretty hard to reach. You know, especially like I said earlier, I don't know how much more time I have in this career, but I'm hoping they keep me on the motorcycle for several more years because I'm not giving up. That is the one goal that I haven't accomplished that I want, and I'm coming after Andrew, and I'm on his team, and he tunes my motorcycle, so he has a lot to do with how fast I go and if I win races, but I have all the respect and all the faith and trust in him. I know he gives me the best motorcycle he can give me, and I'm going to have the best shot at getting some more wins with him.
When is the next race?
We will be in Gainesville, Florida next weekend.
Yeah, I didn't know whether motorcycle was scheduled to run in Gainesville or not. Are you coming to Houston this year?
We are, thank God. We're coming back. Gainesville is usually our season opener for the pro stock motorcycles. That's the first race we're supposed to be at. We went there, we were ready to race, and that's when the coronavirus hit, and they sent us all home and told us we'd come back. We've only had races in Indianapolis since. We've had 3 for the bikes. So this will be our first race this year out of Indianapolis. I'm so excited to get to another track and see some new faces. And Gainesville's a wonderful race for us because it's a motorcycle area. They love bikes there, but really happy to be coming back to Houston this year. I call it my home race because it's the closest one to home, so lots of friends and family usually make it there.
And how is it with your fan base over here? You know, I would imagine that it's A-okay to walk up to the ropes and say, hey, Angel, need a signature here. We're going to get a picture with you. You good with that?
Yeah, it's a little weird right now. You know, we're having to mask up and do the social distancing thing. We try to sign autographs and leave them out pre-signed for the fans to grab them. But it's hard. My favorite saying is it's hard to be Cajun and social distance at the same time.
That's bad. That's absolutely perfect.
We're all about being social, you know, hugs and kisses and just being close to family and friends and fans. And I love standing at the ropes and talking with people and taking pictures. So the way we've been having to do it lately is really tough on me, and I've probably broken a few rules here and there, you know, gotten a little too close, but it's hard to do. You know, my fans are so supportive and so loving, and if they want to take a picture with me, I can't say no. So I've tried to stay a little, you know, try to keep a little distance in the picture, but it's hard to do.
So I understand that you're a big animal lover. I want to get personal with you for a moment. Tell me about your pets.
Right now, I'm very limited on pets. I've been traveling so much; it's hard to keep track of them at home, or I'll have to have someone come over and help. But we're down to a chinchilla and a rabbit and a cat right now. But at one time, we had a whole farm. We had a goat, a pig, chickens, ducks. We had a dog, along with the cat, the chinchilla, the rabbit, a hamster, all of these animals at the same time.
Well, that goes along with being Cajun, though, too, doesn't it?
Exactly. You know, we have alligators in our pond in our front yard on a regular basis. We have 3 turtles that live in there all the time. So it's a full-time job to take care of all these animals. So like I said, we're down to just 3 right now. But as soon as I'm not racing anymore, and I hope that's not too soon, but I promised my daughter we'd we get a bunch of animals again one day.
You had mentioned the transition from the Suzuki to the Buell to the Harley. What was your, just for the fans to kind of listen to, what was your shift point in each of those three bikes, the RPM shift points?
Very different. The Suzuki's is really high. If my memory serves me well, I think we were shifting somewhere between 12 and 13,000 RPMs. I don't remember exactly. And then with the Buell, we're much lower than that. We're usually right around 10,000 RPMs on each gear shift.
And where are you at?
The same in time, but the sound of the engine is so totally different.
Right,
so
right.
when I first made the transformation, I was waiting for that really high revving RPM, and I was overshifting at first, or waiting too long. But I got it now. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's really hard to. We have to shift 5 gears in under 4 seconds. So
wow,
it's kind of hard to be right on time, but I'm usually there.
Well, that's part of your success. I want to go back a little bit here, and I understand that you like playing golf. How is that at 5'1"?
I'm not. I don't know if I would say I like playing golf. I'm so competitive, and my attention span is really short, which is why I'm a drag racer. And then the golf game really gets me. I'm good for about 5 holes, and then after that, if I start losing my game, I get very mad and I don't want to play anymore. So I just sit on the golf cart, and my husband gets mad because he wants me to actually finish a game one day. And I think he's also mad because he might play several times a year, and I'll only go once or twice, and I usually do better than him. So he gets mad because he says, if you would just try and play more, you'd be so good. But like I said, I'm only good for about 5 holes, and then I give up. But it's an interesting sport because it takes just as much, mentally from you as drag racing does. And that's why I like it. But then I hate it because once I lose it for the day, it's like you can start off like a champion golf player, and then within 5 holes, you look like you've never hit a golf ball in your life.
So what are you looking for the rest of the season? I know it's a abbreviated season, and I know that things are tight on all of drag racing and all of sports for that matter, and we got just a few races to go. How do you think you're going to be doing here in the next few races?
Yeah, as of right now, we only have 5 races to go. So if we get all 5 of those in, it'll be only 8 races for the season, which is very upsetting to me because it's what I live for. I want to race, and we're used to having 16, 18 races a year. I'm definitely looking to make it rounds after rounds after rounds, hopefully win another race or 2. I'd love to win another championship. I'm trying not to set myself up for disappointment, but I've already had a much better year than I had last year with winning a race this year. But I have to go rounds because this is such a short season. To win a championship, you can make no mistakes with only 5 races left to go. So I'm hoping that they'll actually give us a championship. I'm not sure how they're going to handle it yet, with only 8 races in the books. But I'm going to be there knocking on the door if they do.
Well, I hope all the guys from the Vance and Hines team are watching this morning because we really have enjoyed our interview with you. And you're such a great sport and a great competitor. And we wish you the best of luck. We're going to be following you now the rest of the season. So we got you back on this end over here in your next door neighbor, Texas.
I appreciate it. Just one last note. I heard you guys talking about electric vehicles before I came on.
Yes.
Did you know that I drove the Live Wire? I have the record on the Live Wire, the Harley-Davidson electric motorcycle.
We've not heard that, and we haven't seen that. Can we see that somewhere?
Yes, I have it on all my social media pages. Harley-Davidson has it on their page as well. It's the Harley-Davidson Live Wire electric motorcycle. It is a blast. We rode them at the last race. We did a couple of passes on them in competition. Eddie and Andrew raced each other. And then I did a solo pass behind them and blew them away. I think I ran a 7:01 in the 8th mile at 100 miles per hour.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and the quarter mile I ran on 11:15, I think it was, at 110. The bike tops out at 110. It won't let you go any faster than that. But it is a blast. I had so much fun on that motorcycle. They are really good-looking bikes, fun to ride, so you have to check them out, Harley-Davidson Live Wire, and they're perfect for girls. And I don't want to take anything away from the guys because let me tell you, they are a fast motorcycle. But for any females that are looking to ride and are intimidated by shifting and a clutch, the live wire is for you.
I'll go find that video and I'll post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, you got to check it out. It's awesome.
Angel, thanks again. We really appreciate it. Best of luck to you. We'll be following you. You stay safe over there with our hurricane coming. All right, thank you.
For having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, hon. Bye-bye. All right, Angel Sampay, Pro Stock motorcycle rider for the Vance and Hines team. Great
How awesome
interview.
was that?
Yeah, it
How
really
awesome
was.
was that?
Yeah. She's a true champion and a true representative of her sport in a very good way. All right, well, we're going to have our car review coming up, and we're going to take a quick break. We're right back here on the In Wheel Time program.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child. And yet, heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period. And always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. With that in mind, it's time to review our safe driving checklist. First, you're in your car.
Check.
You're sober.
Check.
You're wearing your seatbelt.
Check.
Your phone is put away.
Check.
Great. Make sure you follow the speed limit. And remember, law enforcement is enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
It's the In Wheel Time Car Show.
That was a great interview. I really enjoyed talking to Angel. That was so cool. I watched her race
we've
over
got
the
more
years.
NHRA excitement coming up. If we can, this will be the third
try with Jack Beckman.
Yeah, Fast Jack Beckman. We got him coming up as well. So, all right. Guess who's on the horn with us right now? That would be Mr. Absentee, Mike Out of This World Mars. Look at you.
Live from the Goodwill.
Hello, Mr. Mars.
Howdy, guys. How are y'all?
Well, we're doing just fine here in Houston, Texas, and I hope that you're hunkered down over there, closer to Louisiana than we are, and I hope things are going well down at the beach as well. So with that all said and done, I know that you have a review of the Buick Encore. Let's hear it.
Let me tell you, I found this vehicle so interesting after I got into doing the research on it. I mean, we're talking about the compact crossover, a brand new crossover from Buick, and it actually slots between the Encore, because this is the Encore GX, not the GX as a trim level, but as a separate vehicle, and the essence is the trim level on it. So it slots between the existing Encore and the larger Envision. And it's actually on the same platform as the Trailblazer to give you an idea of what size it actually is. Comes in 3 different trim levels, the Preferred, the Select, the Essence, which is the one that we had. So again, it's all new. It looks a whole lot like the Encore, but it's got a little bit different styling, a little more contemporary styling on the corners and on the edges of it. So of course, up front, you're going to find the LED lighting package. You got it's all around with fog lights included. It's got the rain sensing wipers, roof side rails, had a panoramic sunroof in this big thing, and had the hands-free power liftgate, which is an option on the Buick. And we were rolling on some nice 18-inch aluminum wheels on the exterior of it. So once you got into the inside of it, we had the optional leather seating surfaces. The front seats were heated. The rear seats were a 60/40 folding back seat. The front passenger seat on this vehicle actually folds down so that if you've got a long cargo, like an 8-foot 2x4 or something, you can actually get it in there in this vehicle because of its additional size. We had the surround vision camera. We had the heads-up display. Got a nice 8-inch touchscreen in the middle of the dash, which is where we're going to find the Buick infotainment system with all the convenience controls, the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto, all those good things. And this vehicle behind the rear seats got 23.5 cubic feet of storage. The standard Encore is at 18.8. So you pick up a little bit of storage there because of the additional size of the vehicle. Now, up under the hood, it's got the 1.3 liter turbo. Now, this is a 3-cylinder engine, and I didn't realize that they were still putting 3-cylinder engines in these vehicles. The 1.2 is standard, but the 1.3 is the optional kind of upgrade. 155 horsepower, 174 pound-feet of torque, and it's backed by a CVT. There is, if you step up to a little bit bigger engine, there is an automatic 9-speed available, but this is the one that we had. The EPA says it should be looking for 30 miles to the gallon in the city, highway 32, and combined is 31. So that's really a narrow band of what they've got, and it's something to do with that, the power of that 3-cylinder attached to the CVT. And it's kind of weird to look at it like that. But what I really think, I could stand to have a little more juice. I don't care if it's a turbo 3-cylinder or if you step up to the 4-cylinder. It was fine for running around town, but out on the highway, it seemed like if I was trying to make a lane change or pass somebody, I really wanted a little more juice to it. Has a real nice Buick ride out on the highway. It's got some nice firmness to it, but it's also kind of smooth. Now, if you're looking for something that you want to compare this vehicle to, you're looking at maybe a Mazda CX-30, base price $21,900, a Honda HR-V, the base price on it's going to be $20,900, or the new Kia Seltos, based on its $21,990. Now, a base Buick Encore GX. Remember, this is a little bit bigger than the regular Encore. It's a brand new vehicle slotted in there, actually to get more to the younger crowd that's looking for a more contemporary vehicle than what the Encore is. So the base on it's $28,500. So it's a little bit higher than some of the competitors. The MSRP on this vehicle, as tested, is $33,465 for the new Encore GX vehicle. And that's my review of the new Encore GX.
Mr. Mars, you've done a fabulous job, and we appreciate that. And, of course, we're running a little bit behind, so we're going to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You stay safe over there, and we'll talk to you later, sir. All right, time now for the national events calendar, and Conrad has that.
Well, next weekend up in Fort Worth is the Good Guys Lone Star Nationals, and that's going to be a huge event of street rodders. We talked last weekend about Mustang Fest in Corpus Christi, Texas, October 2nd, and they're going to meet up in Mustang, Oklahoma, and drive on down to the Mustang Fest in Corpus Christi. That should be kind of cool. The SEMA Fest the SEMA show is November 3rd through the 6th, and I'm not real sure. Yeah, I'm not real sure what the status is on that. As of right now, it shows that it's still going on.
Well, you know, I just saw a story yesterday that Las Vegas is going to be opening up again finally.
Well, they also saw a story last night that there's a big infection in the workers in some of the casinos in Las Vegas.
Oh, yikes.
October 15th through the 17th, the Charlotte Auto Fair, which is another street rod event. October 24th, the Japanese Car Classic in Long Beach. You know, and you love those JDM cars, the Japanese domestic markets.
Yeah, I do.
So that's kind of a taste of what's going on here in the next couple of weeks nationally.
You are the man. Thank you very much, sir. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and In Wheel Time podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict, among others. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break. Stay with us.
Do you know what teens just love? Not being told what you're supposed to love. That's not anyone's business but yours. It doesn't matter what you love, but if you love it, click it. That includes you too. Because in 2018, 42% of Texas teens who died in traffic crashes were not wearing their seatbelts. Make sure everyone is buckled up. Every rider, every ride. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
You are on the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place, along with King Conrad DeLong right there, Don Armstrong here, filling in for Mr. Mars at the controls of Zoom and all that other stuff is our chief engineer and all-round good guy, David Ainsley. Over there in the corner, that you can't see, is Jeff Zekin. So we're all here for you today. And let's hope that the third time is the charm, because joining us now again is, hopefully, Mr. Jack Beckman, Fast Jack Beckman, NHRA funny car driver. Jack, you there?
I was going to mess with you guys, but I can't do it. Thank goodness for small miracle time.
Oh, my God.
That was great. That was great.
You guys sent me a private message that said, I'll be right with you. I wrote back, I'm not even moving. I've tried this in my truck in the parking lot of my daughter's hockey game. I've tried this on my phone. I've tried this on a different computer. I'm not changing anything.
Don't touch it. Isn't that what they say? Don't touch it.
So we love your background of all the Wallies. That's
just wallpaper.
That's Wally Walled.
Wally Wallpaper. I like it. So 33 career wins. Funny car, 31, sportsman class. He's got a couple of there.
Hold on, guys. That was as of 2 weeks ago. You could add one to that total.
That's right.
U.S. Nationals, congratulations.
That would be his second U.S. Nationals trophy over Labor Day weekend. Congratulations. Man, we were pulling for you all the way, and, once again, you pulled it off. We love Jack Beckman, and we also love, and actually this was 3 weeks ago that I watched an episode of Hot Rod History with Fast Jack Beckman, a quarter mile at a time on NHRA.com. Dude, you have a second career just waiting for you as soon as you get out of the cockpit to get on TV and do a TV show all your own, at least a 30-minute-a-week series.
Well, if you guys could figure out how to make money, my wife would be all ears. And trust me, I didn't run out of magazines. A buddy of mine gave me his whole collection of drag news, which ran from 1955 to 1978. And this was before NHRA had their own paper, National Dragster. And really, before drag news, the only place you were going to read about drag racing would have been Hot Rod magazine. And I had all my dad's old hot rods. Dating back, the first one he ever got was my grandpa bought it for him off a newsstand while they were on vacation in Florida. They are from Maryland, and it's August of 1950. And I still have that magazine today. And then he started subscribing in March of 51. So I've got them all. They've been in boxes and they've been in my attic, and I never looked at them because they were old and I just really didn't know what they were going to teach me, and I didn't want to damage them. And as I started through this journey, I recognized I can't start at 1955. And I went and I got all my dad's magazines down. And this has led down a rabbit hole where I've been to 3 legends, friends, whatever you want to call them. I've got some wonderful acquaintances and buddies in drag racing, and I've emptied out their whole collections. And my wife is so thrilled every time I bring the Ram truck back in the garage, loaded to the top of the bed with stuff, and start the whole process of, you got to inventory everything. Then you got to put it chronologically. Then I got to take out the spares. Then I box everything up. So anyway, I did 10 episodes, and I went from basically the beginning, which is 49, 50, up through 59, and I have researched and scripted 1960, and then I ran out of ambition and motivation. So as soon as I find that, I'm going to go back out in the garage and film.
Well, I have to tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed and had completely forgotten about a fellow drag racer, and this goes back to my era. Obviously, I'm older than you. I saw a pic of you with the fabulous Doug Thorley that was taken in 2017, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Doug was 88 at that time. And at the U.S. Nationals, the pros are pitted on the right side of the track, and a lot of the sportsmen and all the nostalgia stuff and the legends are on the other side. So I had ridden the scooter over there, and a buddy of mine had recreated Doug's Corvair. And I said, man, you think there's any way you could get Doug to stop by our pits? So he shows up there the next day, and our car's up on the jack stands in the pits. And 88, he climbed right on in the car, didn't need any help getting out of there. And to me, I mean, obviously winning the U.S. Nationals for drag racers, that's the thing that's climbing Mount Everest, right? But to me, since I'm such a historian, it's all these moments with the legends and the people that Well, when I was 7 years old and went to my first drag race in '73 at Orange County, these were already icons of the sport. So the fact I could rub shoulders with them I mean, there's a lot of things that I've done beyond my wildest dreams. I'm a pretty lucky guy.
Well, I have to tell you, I mean, the series that you're doing, that you did with quarter mile at a time, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I would imagine that there's got to be some talk somewhere on Motor Trend TV that we're going to get Jack Beckman his own 30 minutes actual series or docu-series, or maybe even a Netflix. We'll just go with that. How's that?
Well, they can get a hold of my agent. That's the same one that sets up these computer meetings and missed the mark both times last time. You know, it's ironic you say that because this is the last year of our sponsorship with the Chandler family. And these 6 years are running the Infinite Hero Foundation on the side of the car. And mind you, all the funding was picked up by Terry and Doug Chandler. We raised money for Infinite Hero, and we've raised well over $750,000. And we've literally changed injured veterans' lives, and I've got to spend time with a lot of those folks. And again, beyond my wildest dreams. But reality sets in. We don't have funding for next year. It's September. We're in the middle of COVID. We don't know what the schedule is going to look like for next year. If there was ever a worst year ever to try to sell a sponsorship package for a race car, this one's it. So I likely will be going back to a regular job next year. And I quit the elevator trade in 1998 to go teach full-time at the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School. And that's always been a safety net for me. So I'm facing the very real possibility of going back to a 8-to-5 job next year. And I'm not going to quit looking for sponsorship. And I feel like drag racing is, well, it's certainly where I would like to be. I'd like to think the sport would like to have me here too. But, you know, you have to be a grown-up sometimes. And I've got to provide for my family. We still got a mortgage, and I've still got 2 young kids. So, you know, working for a living is something that I've always, in the back of my mind, thought I might have to go back to. And it looks like 2021, I'm going to do that.
Well, we're hoping that you land a good sponsorship for the future, but the Chandlers have been such a big part of your life over the last 6 years, and especially with Infinite Hero and stuff. And we really want to, you know, thank you for your efforts of doing those things for our soldiers in need. I think it's been a pretty awesome program that you guys have put on.
Well, I've been in the same room with 8 Medal of Honor recipients. And if you want to think you're a badass, when you're in that room, the best you could be is 9th, right? I mean, it's just surrounded by the literal definition of heroes. And that word gets wildly overused in sports and in, you know, public service. Those folks are all heroes. And kind of the de facto face of Infinite Hero over these last years has been Gary Linfoot, an Army helicopter pilot paralyzed in a crash on a combat mission. And he's pictured on the back door of our trailer. Well, in 2015, Infinite Hero sent a film crew out to Denver to document some things to help use as the fundraiser platform. And we made the final round there. They fire the car up. The body gets put down. I'm idling to pull up through the water. And it's where you kind of take that deep breath and try to get in the zone. And I look out the side window, and Gary's there in his wheelchair. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't lose. Like, the worst we could be is 2nd place today, and I've got that guy in my corner. And by the way, we did win that race.
Awesome. Well, what a tribute. What a tribute. And what emotion you got from Gary as well.
He, you know, Gary's 6 foot, but since 2008, he's been 4'2" because he's been in a wheelchair. And Infinite Hero funded a exoskeleton for him. All the programs we do are programs that help out groups of veterans. The only solo endeavor we've done was this exosuit because we recognized that doing something for an individual here would help out a multitude of people later. In other words, think of cell phones back in 1988. They were huge, they were inefficient, kind of like trying to get on a Zoom meeting in 2020. but, you know, through a lot of funding and over the years, the product has gotten better and better and better. What's going to be the same thing with the exosuit. In fact, I think they're getting ready to release Gen 3 or 4, and a lot of that's based on the feedback they got from the Linfoot family. This is not RoboCop. You don't strap this thing on and jump over buildings. You strap it on and you walk at a half a mile an hour with somebody at your side to help you. So the fact that we could fund this, let them go out and make 250,000 steps on the thing, helped them make a better product for future users. And also at Bristol Motor Speedway several years ago, and that's the picture that's now on the back door of our trailer. Gary stood for the first time for the national anthem since he was paralyzed. And again, you want to talk about pinch me moments and where the enormity of the situation just hits you and never leaves you. To be a part of that was very gratifying.
Well, Jack, we want you to hang on for just a second here. We need to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you here momentarily. Hang in there.
Do you know what teens just love?
You may want
Not
to
being
slow
told
down.
what you're
There's
supposed
a
to
cop car
love.
up there.
That's not anyone's business but yours.
Hey man, there's
It doesn't
another
matter
cop.
what you love.
I'd think
but
about
if you
putting your
love-
seatbelt on if I were you. And if you could sober up in less than 5 seconds, that'd be cool too.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. Cops are enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
Advance Auto Parts and CarQuest present the Gary Merrill Memorial Pro Modified Race with a purse-busting $7,000 to the winner. Saturday night, September 26th at Houston Motorsports Park. Gates open at 5. The commemorative Air Force flyover and racing at 6. Wear your mask. We've got social distancing and sanitizer. Enjoy dollar hot dogs and dollar beer. Advance tickets online at NASCARHouston.com. Saturday night, September 26th. Gates at 5. Racing at 6. Houston Motorsports Park. The $7,000 Gary Merrill Pro Modified Race. Bring the kids.
Welcome back to the In-Wheel Time Car Show, and we're talking with Fast Jack Beckman, NHRA funny car driver. Jack, what are you looking forward to down in Gainesville?
A race, because last time I went there in March, I didn't get to race. I flew out there a day early. I inducted Robert, or Bones Baylog, a AA gas supercharged driver from back in the day. I inducted him into the International Drag Race Hall of Fame, and I've done that for 7 people. Again, pinch me moments. As a fan, as a historian, to get a chance to do that's great. Then I show up at the track Friday, and they postponed the race. Then they scheduled it to June. Well, here we are in September, and I think this time it's really going to happen. So I'm excited for the East Coast and the Southern fans, because Gainesville's kind of like their Winter Nationals. That's the season opener, and they're not going to get that till September. And you know, coming off a win in Indy, and we'd had some tune-up issues. We had to change 2 of our 6 clutch discs. You run out of inventory throughout the year. And it threw us for a loop at the race before the U.S. Nationals. Now, typically, with a regular schedule, you'd get 4 qualifying runs. Well, because of the COVID deal, we're only getting 2. And the point I'm making is, normally, if we go out and run good on Friday and get the car qualified solidly, Saturday we'd put different parts on the car, like newer clutch discs, and see what they want for a tune-up. We didn't have that ability. So we actually had our only first-round loss of the year at the Indy 3 race. And fortunately, we rebounded strongly and at the perfect time to win the U.S. Nationals. So I feel like now we're getting right back into that tune-up window where we were at the beginning of the year. You know, the other thing is, we collected win number 351 for Don Schumacher. The day before, and I know this gets confusing because there's been a lot of Indies this year, we lost in the final for the Indy 2 race, which was rain delayed, and our teammate Matt Hagan got Don his 350th win. Well, Gainesville, we could get 10 wins in a row for the DSR funny cars. And, you know, to keep checking these milestones off is pretty cool. Obviously, we want to win. So, you know, for the Infinite Hero Dodge Charger and for Pennzoil, for everybody that's on the side of our cars, you can't get enough winner circles. It's like these trophies here, guys. If somebody says, how many trophies do you have to any race car driver, they'll always say, 1 less than I want. You get thirsty for it and you want to go do it again. Well, now I'm kind of looking at the possibility that I have 5 more chances to do that. That's how many races are left scheduled this year. Again, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep looking for sponsorship. If something doesn't come up, maybe I'm looking for 2022. But you never know. You truly never know. So I am looking for 4 more win lights on Sunday and to stand there with the team holding the trophy at the end of the day.
Jack, how is it in the funny car field without John Force in it?
Drag racing needs John Force. I mean, he's one of a kind. And I know we say that about a bunch of people. And John's not a 1 in a million guy, because if John was a 1 in a million guy, there'd be 330 people like him just in America. John is a 1 in $330 million. He's just that special of a human being. And Robert Heitz is tough a competitor as I've ever pulled up next to. And then Top Fuel with Austin Prock and Brittany. That's that's not only 2 more cars in each eliminator, it's 2 more tough cars in each eliminator. And when you win races, like if you say behind me of these trophies, which one means the most, the ones that tend to mean the most are the ones that you had to fight hardest for. So we definitely want the Force team back out there in the competition. And let's face it, if, you know, let's call me a pitcher in baseball. And if you had a choice and you had a time machine, who would you most want to go up against and pitch against? And Babe Ruth would probably be the guy that most people would answer that with. And Force's drag racing's Babe Ruth.
Well, I know that he's certainly missed across the NHRA. Have any insight as to what in the world has happened with him and the team and John Force Racing?
Yeah, most of the issues with nitro racing are easily described. I believe it's a Latin word, and the word is money. And it's Latin for money. It's all about funding. These cars burn a tremendous amount of parts and resources. And I'm surmising with Force it's contracts due to COVID. You don't think John Force at any point in his career would say, you know what, we could save a lot of money if we just skipped a few races. So I'm sure it's a funding deal for the long term, and you have to respect his decision to park his cars. Because, I mean, as hard as that's going to be for me, if I've got to sit out a year, imagine if you're that guy and you're a 16-time champ and you're responsible for this empire and 3 other drivers, and you need to park your car. So, I hope, I doubt I'm going to be out there in 2021. I hope for the sake of the sport, the 4 John Force Racing cars do make it back out.
Jack, I have to ask you this. If somebody came up to you and said, you know, I don't have a fuel car for you, but I do have a pro stock car for you, would you consider going to pro stock?
If it was competitive. I've always been a dragster guy. In fact, my first nitro ride in 2005 for 12 races was a top fuel car, and I thought I'd made it. I just finished chemotherapy the year before after some pretty intense cancer, and I thought that this was my dream come true. And in 2006, I was back to driving a sportsman car, and I thought that was it. That's all God gave me was 12 races in a nitro car, and that was just fine. And then the phone rang, and it was Don Schumacher, and he didn't have a dragster, but he had a funny car. And God, has that been wonderful for me. I mean, I never imagined I'd be this successful in drag racing, and because of that, I'm falling in love with funny cars. Now, if a ride was available in a top fuel car next year, I'd jump on that in a hot minute. I would love to go back in a top fuel car and have a chance to join that club of people who have won national events in both. But if it was a pro stock or another ride and it was a competitive car that could win races, I'd take that.
Well,
when you make the comparison between funny car and top fuel, is one, for lack of a better phrase from somebody who's never done either, is one easier to drive than the other?
So a top fuel car would be a Ferrari at 200 miles an hour on the Autobahn. If you want to make any steering input, you better whisper on that steering wheel and don't be late doing it. A funny car is a Winnebago with a flat front tire in an 80-mile-an-hour crosswind. Everything you want with the steering wheel, and you better.
What a great analogy.
A funny car is, a top fuel car is not easier to drive than a funny car. A funny car can be more difficult to drive than a top fuel car because of the minimized visibility, because the injector's in front of you, the shorter wheelbase. They're more dynamic if they drop a cylinder out there, and the steering input's just totally different.
Plus, when something goes wrong, it's all in front of you.
Yes, and thank goodness for good safety equipment. I've tested mine many times.
Yeah.
Jack, we certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your day out there in California to join us today, and thanks so much. Sorry for all the problems that we've had in the past, but it's been well worth the wait to have you as a guest today on our show, and we hope to see you here in Houston in just a few weeks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I am so looking forward. No knock on Indy. I love Indy, but I am so looking forward to running in front of fans in stands at other racetracks. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks again, Jack. Jack Beckman. He is with the Don Schumacher team, funny car driver, and a great guy. We've got more of the In Wheel Time Car Show coming up right after a quick break, as soon as I press the right buttons.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's the In-Wheel Time Car Show on this Saturday. We sure appreciate you joining us. It's time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. I don't want to get off track here as we run out of time, so you just go for the car clinic. What's in it today?
Well, it's all about torque. You know, most people when they drive a truck, they talk about how much torque their truck has. You know, and the old saying is people talk horsepower, but they buy for torque. Torque is the twisting force of moving a vehicle forward. Horsepower is the power once you get up in the RPM range to keep you moving forward. But that launch of your vehicle from a dead stop, that's all about how much torque your vehicle puts out. You know, the pistons in an engine push up and down, spin the crankshaft and rotate the crankshaft, which in turn goes through the transmission, the drive shaft, through the differential to the axles and the tires and push you forward. So again, you know, you're going to gravitate, especially when you're dragging a lot of weight, towing something, you're going to gravitate to something that has a lot of torque in it because that's the working force of an engine. You know, diesel engines have generally always had more torque, but they operate at lower RPMs. And Ram truck was the first one to release 1,000 foot-pound of torque on a production vehicle back in 2019. But if we kind of go through history, let's do a little history lesson on some of the torque values of vehicles that were out there. You know, Don always talks about his 1969 Z28 302 with the DZ block 302 engine. That engine put out 290 foot-pounds of torque. The 1970 Chevy LT1 put out 380 foot-pounds of torque. My favorite, the W30 Oldsmobile, put out 500 foot-pounds of torque. So they all put out a level that's nice. The 1970 Hemi put out 490 foot-pounds of torque. And then as you get into today's gasoline engines, you're talking about the 2009 5.7 Hemi puts out 410. The Corvette ZR1 of 2013, 604 foot-pounds of torque. The 2015 Hellcat, 650 foot-pounds of torque. Even the EcoBoost in my Ford Transit puts out 470 foot-pounds of torque out of a V6. So again, torque is the force that moves the vehicle forward or launches it. But when you look at diesel engines, the progression of power and torque available in a diesel engine has been pretty fast and furious. In 89, they were putting out about 400 foot-pounds. In 2001, about 500 foot-pounds. In 2004, about 650 foot-pounds. In 2013, they were putting out 850 foot-pounds of torque. So when you look at some of these diesel trucks, the Cummins, Duramax, and Power Stroke trucks, you know, they keep on adding more and more torque to those engines because people are trying to do more and more with it. And then you get up to the 2018 with about 900 foot-pounds of torque, and then 2019 Ram released one with 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. I don't know where the top of this is going to stop in production vehicles, but I would think 1,000 foot-pounds of torque should be pretty close to it, but I imagine they're going to keep on advancing as each manufacturer wants to offer a step above who the other guy was until we get up to the numbers that we're at right now.
How can you add torque?
You're going to add torque by adding, changing compression ratios, by changing the stroke of the piston, the length the piston moves up and down.
So longer stroke?
Longer strokes should give you more torque because that's a longer force down
Correct.
on the piston. Changing the amount of fuel that's going in and out of the engine and the amount of air. So you're looking at, where do they get this 1,000 pounds of torque? It's the boost. The boost has climbed up in that Cummins engine over the years, as well as the fuel management system's gotten that much better.
More compression, longer stroke.
And more fuel and more air. Engines and air pump. Air in, air out, add fuel, make the bang.
Got it. Thank you.
So 1,000 foot-pounds of torque.
1,000
is unbelievable.
I don't think you could stop that with your hand.
I don't think you could stop that with a 3-story building, to be honest with you.
I know. Well, it's quite impressive. All right, a couple of stories making automotive news headlines this week. Safety driver operating an Uber self-driving test vehicle that struck and killed a pedestrian in March 2018 has been charged with negligent homicide. Grand jury returned the charge against Rafael Stewart Vasquez, 46, in late August, officials with the Maricopa County Attorney's Office said on Tuesday. Vasquez pled not guilty during an initial court appearance. Vasquez was released and will wear an ankle monitor. Crash investigators found Vasquez was watching The Voice on a cell phone at the time of the crash, the first fatal collision in which autonomous driving test technology was involved. The Uber's self-driving technology failed to detect the victim. The NTSB last fall said the probable cause of the crash was that Vasquez did not adequately monitor the road and the operation of the vehicle. Further, the crash investigation agency said Uber's inadequate safety culture contributed to the deadly crash. Yikes.
Well, Ford announced a plan on Thursday to build a new extension of the plant to build an electric version of the F-150 at the Rouge River Assembly Plant in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah, I've been to that plant, and it's quite impressive. Yep. Nissan unwrapped the next generation Z sports car this past week, confirming the rejuvenation of the iconic nameplate with a retro-style prototype that stays true to the original Z car from a half-century ago, but adds plenty of updates for today's modern driver. Look for that. Proto Z. It's just a prototype, but it's coming. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's got the rear quarters of it looks very much like the old 240Z. Pretty cool.
And the rest of the news this week has really all been about EVs, electric vehicles. Kia launch its first dedicated electric vehicle next year as part of a new 7-model EV-only lineup, and will roll out across several segments through 2027. So we've got that coming up. And General Motors said it plans to produce an interchangeable family of electric vehicle drive systems and motors, boosting manufacturing efficiencies as it transitions to a fully electric lineup.
That's that skateboard. They put different bodies on top of it. Toyota revealed plans to produce their hydrogen fuel cell pickup trucks. And that hydrogen fuel cell pickup truck will generate, as a generator, enough power for concerts and festivals and disaster-stricken areas for up to 3 days.
Well, that is it for this episode of In Wheel Time, the car show. When you're on Facebook, please give us a like and tell your friends about us. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time car show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts happen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict, among others. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer sitting right there. It's David Ainsley. Our voice, our video and marketing chieftain is Jeffrey Zekin. He's off camera over there. This week's In Wheel Time Car Show is produced and directed by Sid Caesar. For booking agent and podcast man Mike Out of This World Mars, his royalty king Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong saying so long for now. And we hope you'll join us again next week on our newly expanded live show each and every Saturday beginning at 9:30 a.m., 9:30 to noon. That's our new hours right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Thanks for being part of the In Wheel Time family. We really appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. Mask up, wash those nasty hands, and stay sanitary. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at Prince's Hamburger Joint at Sharpstown Golf Course for Chrome and Coffee, 9 to noon. So long for now.